Okay, so we are talking about wound healing, basically. For the last few days, we've been talking about it, all as it regards protein and specifically arginine and tangentially other amino acids as well. This is all based on the fact that protein means nitrogen, nitrogen means work. I'm probably talking a little bit too much about nitrogen, but from a chemistry perspective, from a biochemistry perspective, I just can't help it. It's so important. Nitrogen is explosive, as in nitroglycerin or TNT, trinitrotoluene. Nitrogen's relationship to plants and nitrogen bacteria, which essentially convert gaseous nitrogen that makes up the vast majority of the stuff we breathe called air. This relationship between nitrogen in the air and nitrogen-fixing bacteria has been exploited by farmers for centuries. You can't make plants without nitrogen. You can't grow plants without nitrogen. Nitrogen basically means life. Our air is mostly nitrogen. We basically breathe in nitrogen. There's a small amount of oxygen and a few other things, but nearly 80% of the air we breathe is nitrogen. It's inert nitrogen. It's not doing anything, and only bacteria in huge factories can convert inert air nitrogen into usable nitrogen. Nonetheless, nitrogen means growth. Nitrogen means repair. Nitrogen means work. Nitrogen is the workhorse of the body. It represents horsepower, and wound healing requires horsepower. Wound healing requires nitrogen. And from a practical standpoint, nitrogen gets into the body only one way, and that's via dietary protein. And everything's going to have, or most foods are going to have a little bit of protein. Most natural foods, that is going to have a little bit of protein and some amino acids. So everything you eat is going to get you a little bit of protein, but if you're interested in wound healing, if you've got wounds that won't heal, slow-healing wounds, you may have an issue with protein intake in terms of protein density, getting enough protein or even protein absorption. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't have any wounds, so this isn't really relevant to me, you might want to consider something. A wound, and most especially a wound that heals slowly or sometimes not at all, can be thought of as representative of what happens inside the body when we're dealing with any kind of degenerative health issue. And remember, 80% of our health dollars, 80% of our health challenges in this country are really degenerative health challenges, degenerative diseases. That means some kind of health challenge or health issue that doesn't heal. The body's a healing system. The body's a renewing system. We say this every day at the beginning of the program. The body's a healing and regenerating and renewing system, but sometimes something goes awry with this healing and regenerating system. And that's what we mean when we say degenerative disease. As opposed to regeneration, we have degeneration. Degeneration means something's not healing, something's not renewing, something's not recovering. And almost all the things that we deal with, aside from acute trauma, getting hit by a bus, or maybe infections, are really related to some kind of breakdown or disruption in the renewing process, in the healing process. So basically, degenerative diseases on the inside are akin to wounding on the outside, or wounding that's not healing, a wound that's slow to heal on the outside. In other words, a wound that's slow to heal on the outside, or that doesn't heal on the outside, is the skin's version of what happens to the bone when we have osteoporosis, or what happens to the brain when we have Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's disease, or what happens to the kidney or the liver when those organs are starting to break down and degenerate. Those are like wounds on the inside, or slow healing wounds on the inside, or non-healing wounds on the inside. And scarring on the skin is similar to fibrosis or fibroids inside the body. Fibrosis and fibroids are the extrusion or the production of fibers too abundantly in the uterus, for example. When you have uterine fibroids, or fibrosis can really occur anywhere inside the body. If it happens on the skin, you call it a keloid, or you call it a scar. It's all basically the same thing. If there's one major principle, if there's one idea that I try to get across here on this program every single day, is that the body breaks down generically. The medical model, the ignorant medical model, and I mean ignorant with a capital I. The ignorant medical model will tell you, oh, you got to go to the bone, and you got to go to the brain, and you got to go to the pancreas, and you got to go to the thyroid, and you got to go to the liver, and you got to go here and there, thither and if that's how you say it, I'm not sure how you say it. You got to go to and fro, everywhere. Look here, look there. Just like in the Bible, it says, if anybody tells you, look here, look there, you tell them, no, the kingdom of heaven is within. And it's the same idea. If your doctor tells you, we got to fix this and we got to fix that, and you got to take a drug for this organ, and you got to have a surgical procedure for that structure, you say, no. Let's look within. Let's see what's going on. The one thing that's happening inside the body, and you will always, 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 always find cells that are not doing their business in a normal fashion. And it doesn't matter whether it's in the bone or in the pancreas or the brain or anywhere else. It's cells not doing their business. Cells not doing their business secondary to starvation, suffocation, toxification, leading to inflammation, producing more suffocation, starvation, toxification, leading to more inflammation, leading to more suffocation, toxification, and starvation. And it's the same with wounds. On the outside of the body, the formation of wounds and scarring can be an unattractive reminder of a traumatic experience. But inside the body, the formation of scar tissue after some kind of wounding or damage may not be unattractive, you can't see it, but it can be a major cause of organ failure. In fact, most organ failure that occurs after long-term degenerative disease, wounding inside the body, has at least some element of scar tissue associated with it. Cells are not doing their business. Cells are producing too much fibers. Cells are trying to adjust for some kind of long-term chronic wounding by producing fibers to protect an area that the cells perceive as being vulnerable. Degenerative disease itself is basically a type of slow-healing or non-healing wound, and ultimately the scar tissue that shows up after this type of long-term degeneration, long-term internal wounding, is a major, major, major health issue and a cause of much health distress. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. Got lines open for you at 855-660-4261. We're coming back with more good health information right after this. Don't go away. Just read today that the owner of the Denver Broncos, Pat Bowlen, has to step down. He had Alzheimer's disease. Every time I read about somebody with Alzheimer's disease, I just want to get on the phone and talk to somebody over there and tell them, you don't have to have Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is a classic example of a brain that is starved of nutrition. Your doctors will tell you there's all kinds of things about tangles, neurofiber tangles, and aluminum deposits, and they make up all kinds of stories about how the brain is breaking down. But really, at the end of the day, what you're talking about with Alzheimer's disease is the same things you're talking about with any kind of health challenge. Starvation, suffocation, toxification, leading to inflammation. It's the same with wounding. Alzheimer's disease is like a wounding in the brain. Parkinson's disease, like a wounding in the brain. Kidney disease, like a wounding in the kidney. That is a wound that's not healing. A slow healing or a non-healing wound inside the body is what we call degenerative disease. Degenerative disease is a slow healing or non-healing wound inside the body. And then scarring can occur inside the body as a response to this lack of nutrition or lack of oxygen or toxification. Same idea. The scarring that occurs inside the wound, inside the body, is the same kind of scarring that occurs on the outside of the body when you have a wound. It's the result of a deposition, a depositing of a bunch of fibers. It's the way the body responds to long-term chronic wounding. It just feels like it has to super protect that area, and it starts to pour in or pump in fibers. And if you ever seen a keloid or a scar, a bump, a hard bump on your skin, that's basically what happens inside the body. That's basically what happens in the kidneys or in the liver or any other part of the body when you have long-term degenerative crises. The body will deposit a lot of fibers, and it will also start to accumulate fiber-making cells, the fiber cells, or fibroblasts they call them. These fibroblasts tend to accumulate inside scarred tissue. So you got more collagen-making cells or fiber-making cells that were present pre-wound. And as we've been saying, this area, this scarred area is likely, or the area that's scarred is likely to be scarred from a lack of nutrition, a lack of oxygen, or accumulation of toxicity, or perhaps even a secondary infection of some kind. The deposition of collagen is a protective device. It's a good thing. To the body, it's a good thing, but in the long run, it's not a good thing. Scar might be a good thing and biologically important because it's nature's way of making sure that what the body perceives as vulnerable is receiving extra protection. It's kind of a protective device. Nonetheless, scars, in addition to being cosmetically unappealing on the outside, inside the body, they can interfere with healthy mechanics, healthy movement, healthy chemistry, and almost all long-term degenerative disease and ultimately organ failure has some element of scar tissue that is forming inside the body. So the trick to preventing, or the trick to dealing with scars, is to prevent them. The trick to dealing with scars is to prevent them. Once you got a scar, it's not going away. Unless you have it cut out or removed or burnt out, a scar is there. It's not going away. And there are these ridiculous creams that you see advertised sometimes that are supposed to make scars disappear, and sometimes people tell you put vitamin E on a scar. No, ain't going to happen. Never happened. Nobody gets a scar removed. Once a scar is there, it's there. It's a scar is typically a hard piece of tissue that is not going away. But the trick to it is to prevent it from forming in the first place, to take care of the wound while the wound is healing. Some of you have written, a lot of you have written, a lot more folks wrote to me about my wound healing and scar prevention cream. And I'm going to start making that up next few days and send it out next week. I didn't anticipate getting so many letters. I'm glad to send you out some sample product if you're interested, but you got to give me some time to make it out. But the point is that you want to pile on the nutrients on the wound as soon as possible, even pre-surgery. If you're going to have a surgical procedure done and you're anticipating the possibility of some kind of wound or some kind of scar, put on topical nutrients, especially vitamin C and vitamin A, pre-surgery, 2 weeks pre-surgery. Just put on a cream, a vitamin C cream or vitamin A cream, nutrients on the area that's going to be cut 2 weeks before, and then following the surgical procedure. You will have a dramatically, and I mean dramatically, you will dramatically improve the healing process, and you'll have a dramatic reduction in scar formation as well. Of course, internally, nutrition, that goes without saying, making sure you've got enough nutrients, and I'll go over a whole bunch of important nutrients, including, by the way, probiotics and the Z radical, fucoidin. Has wonderful anti-scarring properties. We'll tell you about those here in a moment, or maybe we'll get to that tomorrow. So the likelihood of a scar is increased by undernutriated, underoxygenated, and toxic tissue. And there's lots of things we can do to prevent undernutrition, to prevent underoxygenation, and to prevent toxicity. Most importantly, to prevent scarring, we want to be healthy. That means all around healthy. That means nutritional supplements. That means good food. That means staying away from problem foods. And that especially means using nutrients like protein and essential fatty acids that help build tissue and help keep us healthy. And then yesterday we talked about oxygenation. You can apply oxygen topically directly to the skin via ozonated oils, ozonated olive oil, ozonated coconut oil. You can get them on the internet, or you can make your own. Buy a ozone generator and bubble in some ozone into some oil. Take you about a week or two. You make your own wound healing cream. And the same, of course, is true about topical nutrition. In addition to oxygen topically, use topical nutrition. Vitamin C, vitamin A, and probably zinc are the most important topical nutrients for healing wounds, although there's a few other ones as well, and we'll get to those in a second. From an internal perspective, using nutrients, using diet is very, very important. Staying away from sugar, super important. Sugar is a pro-inflammatory food. All pro-inflammatory foods are going to be problematic, including processed fats, so-called trans fats, hydrogenated fats. Basically, it's the same thing as all health issues. Eliminating or preventing, I should say, a scar from forming is the same as preventing degenerative disease from occurring. It's all the same thing. It's not here and there, to and fro. It's all the same thing. Nutrition, staying away from problem foods, especially sugar, processed foods, making sure you're breathing correctly, making sure you're relaxing, making sure you're activating the relaxation nervous system. This is where healing occurs. It doesn't occur when the sympathetic nervous system is activated, when the body's in survival mode. It occurs when the body's in relaxation mode. Taking a hot tub, getting in a hot shower is one of the best ways to accelerate the healing process because it activates the relaxation nervous system. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. We're coming back at you with more good health information and your phone calls right after this. Don't go away. Okay, so we're talking wound healing, And a couple of interesting nutritional supplements that you can use that you don't really think about oftentimes as wound healing, keeping in mind that you can be wounded inside the body. That's what a degenerative disease is. It's a wound that doesn't heal inside the body. So when we talk about wounding, it's not just on the outside, it's also on the inside. And there's some really interesting supplements that we don't talk about specifically as they regard wound healing, but you can use them anyway, and I'll tell you what those are. Well, one of them is the glucogel caps, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. There's a couple other interesting ones. Glucogel caps are one of those. We'll discuss that tomorrow as we continue with wound healing and degenerative disease and nutritional strategies for eliminating or preventing scarring as well. Okay, got some lines open for you at 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. Let's welcome David from Toronto, Canada, to the bright side. What's up, David? How you doing? David?
Oh, hello.
Hello, David. What's going on?
Hi there.
How you doing?
Not too much. I got a toe that I wrote you a letter at Ben at KSCO.
Okay. And I didn't answer you, did I?
No, not yet.
Okay. I'm a little behind on my letters.
A few weeks ago I talked to you, and you said to give me your phone number. Well, I gave it to Brightside Ben, and I gave it somewhere else.
Okay.
But
well, you got me now. How can I help you, David, in Toronto?
Well, anyway, I'm right now I'm hooked up to IVs.
Okay.
I got an infection in my foot, and they did an angioplasty on my left leg.
All right.
And,
are you diabetic, David?
I have been,
okay.
But I got my sugar in mid-March. I went on the 10 Good Foods and so on, and started taking the supplements. And in January, my sugar was 10.1, my A1C. And then at the end of April, it was 6.1.
Well, that's a good thing. And that's from getting on those good foods, from making sure you're staying off the wrong type of foods?
Oh, yes.
That's awesome. Very good. Very good.
But then I had a little sore on my little toe, and all of a sudden, and the nurse opened it and said, well, I'm also blind. But
okay. I think I remember getting your letter. Well, here's the deal, David. You're, as I recall, 60s, 70s? How old did you say you were?
I'm 70.
Okay,
yes.
So you're on the right track with the food. Keep doing that. Are you using any sugar metabolizing nutrients, especially the B vitamins, the Sweeties, and the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, etc.?
I'm using the Sweeties.
Oh, you're not on the
using the BTT.
How often how are you taking the Beyond Tangy Tangerine?
I do 2 scoops in the morning and 2 scoops in the afternoon.
Don't do it that way, David. You may not be getting the benefits. You may be urinating out.
Well, I drink it all day.
Oh, you do sip on it all day?
I put it in a thermos, and
Okay, good. That's good then. Sip on it all day. You never want to take your BTT all at once, in my opinion. I know some people like doing it. Yeah.
No.
First of all, sometimes you'll end up with some loose stools, but you won't get the benefit. You won't get as much of the benefit if you do a lot of it all at once. So that's great. How about fats? What's your essential fatty acids intake like? Are you on the Ultimate EFAs? Are you making sure you're getting enough fats?
I'm doing 2 EFA pluses 3 times a day.
You can take, I would take a little bit more. You're on the right track, but take a little bit more of the essential fatty acids. I'm going to give you a couple of very important nutrients for wound healing right now, okay? Are you doing bone soup?
Bone soup?
Okay, let me tell you about the bone soup. I haven't talked about that for a while, so I'm going to tell you what to do. I call it bone soup, but it's really chicken soup. I call it bone soup because a lot of the good stuff is in the cartilage, the knobby part of the bones, and you can actually make a good quality bone soup with just the bones. You know what I'm talking about? You drop a chicken
when I'm eating roast chicken, don't eat fried anymore.
Roast is good. Drop it in.
If I eat roast chicken, I chew up that cartilage.
Good for you.
It's a big piece.
Good for you. Chew up the cartilage, but even better than chewing up the cartilage is to dissolve it in liquid. If you dissolve the cartilage and the meat in a liquid, a lot of the protein and a lot of the cartilage sugars will come out in the water, and they become very easy for the body to absorb. Chances are at the age of 70 with a history of health issues, you're not absorbing things as well. So while chewing is a good idea, it's definitely better than nothing. It's even better to make it into a soup so it turns it into a liquid. And along the same lines, you can use glucosamine, and I touched on that before we went to break. The glucogel caps are very, very healing. Glucosamine is very healing. Even though we talk about it for cartilage and for arthritis, glucosamine and glucosamine-like substances, glucosamine-like sugars, are very, very important for the wound healing process, especially if you're dealing with diabetic type wounds. Another thing you could do is the Z radical. It turns out that algae has some of the same or similar components to the glucosamine and the stuff that you get in cartilage. And along the same lines, there's something called chitin, C-H-I-T-I-N, and chitosan, C-H-I-T-O-S-I-N. They're similar to the glucosamine, similar to some of the stuff that you get in the bone soup that you can actually apply topically to the wound. And there's a lot of wonderful literature about chitosan topically and chitin topically on wounds to accelerate healing. And that's not just for diabetic wounds, but also for post-surgical wounds. You put it right on the wound. Let me say a couple more things. I'll let you go. I'll let you have your say here. Also, hyaluronic acid capsules. You can break open a hyaluronic acid capsule and put it in a little bit of water and apply that directly to the wound. And that's spelled Hyaluronic, hyaluronic acid. A couple more things real quickly. Vitamin C works hand in hand with glucosamine. Vitamin C itself is very important for wound healing. So you might want to throw in a little bit of extra vitamin C. You'll get some in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, but it wouldn't hurt you to throw in a little extra vitamin C. Zinc, very, very important for wound healing. You should absolutely positively be on 50 milligrams a day of zinc picolinate. And then vitamin A, also important for wound healing. You should be on 20,000 or so international units a day of vitamin A. And then last but most certainly not least, vitamin E, 400 IU a day, is also very important for wound healing and for sugar control. Lots of other things. Arginine is very important. Of course, protein in general is important. But those are some great strategies for wound healing. Got to take a break, David, but hang on and I'll let you finish up. Don't go away, okay? 855-660-4261 is our number on the bright side. If you're on hold, hang tight. We'll get you when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're coming back at you with more good health information on the bright side right after this. Okay, David in Toronto, we're talking topical, we're talking wound healing. So glucosamine, chondroitin, the Z radical, the glucogel caps, zinc, vitamin E, vitamin C, these are all wonderful ways to accelerate healing. And of course, David, don't forget, you might want to look into ozonated oil, ozonated olive oil or ozonated coconut oil, and you can find, you can get that on the internet. Just Google ozonated oil and wound healing. What else, David? Did you were going to say something before you went to break?
I was going to say a lot of the front part of my foot has turned black, but I thought with the because of the wounds that were on, they told me not to walk very much at all, and I think that contributed to the rest of this because it helped those blood vessels clog up a bit.
Possibly. So how can I help you?
Now, I've been taking 4 Ultimate Dailies at each meal and 3 times a day, and I'm doing OsteoFX. I'm doing the powdered one in the morning, and I'm doing 2 big scoops and mix it.
How can I help you, David? Make it like a question. How can I help you, bro?
Okay. Well, if you read my email, and maybe you can just reply to it. That way because I can't remember everything.
Okay, no problem. I'll reply. But generally speaking, what would you like to know? I gave you a whole bunch of nutrients.
I want to know the substitutes for that longevity does for a lot of this stuff, like
go ahead.
Mineral supplements and so on.
I don't know what you mean by substitutes. Get on the Healthy Start Pack, and I will reply back to you in letter. But just so I'm answering your question on the air and for other listeners who are listening in here, get on the Healthy Start Pack. Increase your Ultimate EFAs. Throw in the Ultimate Enzymes and the Z Radical and the Glucogel caps. If you can get yourself some hyaluronic acid capsules, maybe have a friend or somebody go to the store and get you some HA capsules, break it open, put it in water, apply it directly to the wound. You can also do the same thing with chitin or chitosan. You can get all this at the health food store. Make sure you're taking extra vitamin E, 400 international units, extra vitamin A, 20,000 international units, extra zinc, 50 milligrams, and then anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C on top of your Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Use the bone soup, and I think I said the glucogel caps and the Z Radical. You can actually use the Fucoid Z. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow on the program. You can use the Fucoid Z. You can break that open, and you can make that into a paste as well, or a gel, I should say, and you can apply that directly to the wound. So many different ways, and of course there's the ozonated oil also. So many different ways to take care of wounding. So many. And don't forget about protein and arginine with your bone soup and maybe even whey protein. You can also use arginine supplements as well, which will help you with the diabetes. I'm going to let you go, David. Thank you so much for your call.
Do you have some of that on your website?
I'm going to write you a personal letter, David. I'm going to take some time out and write you a personal letter, and maybe I will put it up on the website. That's a good idea. As of now, I don't, and I'm just behind on a lot of that stuff. But there's some great ideas, and we have it on the archive. Go to the archives. Listen to everything I just told you on the archives at benfuchsarchives.com or on the archive page at brightsideben.com. And I know I give you a lot of information, but you can always review it. Everything is online. We got 4 years almost, of great health information, free, wonderful health information that you can review at your leisure. And I apologize for giving you so much information. I'd rather give you too much information, though, than not enough. So thank you so much for your call, David, and I'm going to write you a letter personally, okay? Just keep looking in your inbox. God bless you, my man. Thanks so much for calling from Toronto. Okay, Rosella in Austin, Texas. What's going on? Welcome to the Bright Side.
Hi, Ben.
Hey, what's up?
I'm calling because I have a concern about uterine fibroids.
Okay,
I was recently diagnosed with uterine fibroids, and I was also told I'm very low on estrogen and progesterone. Well,
you're probably not low on estrogen if you have fibroids. More than likely, you might be low, actually, maybe low on estrogen, but you're not low on estrogen-like substances. Estrogen gets broken down into toxic chemicals if you're not processing correctly. Fibroids need to be regarded first and foremost. Listen up now, Rosella. And you can also, by the way, search uterine fibroids at benfuchsarchives.com because we talked a lot about them a few weeks ago. You want to first and foremost regard fibroids as a digestive issue, especially concerning fat absorption. Okay? Now, you're like you're in your 20s, Rosella. Is that right? 20s or 30s? You sound kind of young.
Yes, I'm actually going to be 40, but about 3 years ago, I got my gallbladder removed.
Well, hello, bingo, I'm not Psychic Ben, I'm telling you. This is just what happens. This is how the body breaks down. You shouldn't have to come to a pharmacist on a radio program to tell you these things. Your doctor should be telling you this. Fibroids are a major classic sign of a digestive system that's in distress, especially around fat absorption. Now, you've got to have some menstrual cycle problems, period problems. You've got to have PMS of some kind. So bloating, gas, discomfort, migraines, right? Again, I'm not Psychic Ben. It's all connected. It's all linked together. So here's what you do, my dear. Number one, find out what kind of foods give you the most problems. I guarantee you they're going to be fatty foods, especially without a gallbladder. So find out what foods are giving you the most problems and eliminate them. The second thing you want to do is start to help your body process fats. Probiotics are not optional. You got to, as soon as you hang up the phone, call 866-735-2470. Tell them you want the Biolumin Nightly Essence and you want it to get it as soon as possible. 3 capsules in the morning, 3 at night. Throw in fermented food while you're at it. Use sauerkraut, miso, tempeh, pickled beets, pickles, anything fermented. Just lots kefir. You might want to try Jordan Rubin's Beyond Organic products. You got to get your digestive symptoms under control. Use the ultimate enzymes. You may want to go get something called Pepsin HCl at the health food store. Maybe bile salts, a little extra bile salts with your ultimate enzymes. Use apple cider vinegar after all of your meals. Then also, in addition to all of that, you might want to use some lecithin powder with once a day or twice a day. Put it in water and drink it down. That's spelled Lecithin. I like the powder better than the liquid. It tends to be less processed. So use the lecithin powder and look for the organic lecithin powder. This is all in an attempt to help your body process fats. Now, while you're doing these kinds of things, while you're doing your ultimate enzymes and your apple cider vinegar and your lecithin and your pepsin, etc., make sure you're taking fatty vitamins because you're going to run deficient in all your fatty vitamins, but 2 very important anti-fibroid fatty vitamins, and that's vitamin E and vitamin A. If you're not taking them with all of this digestive support. So 20,000 international units of vitamin A, 400 international units of vitamin E. Probably a good idea idea to get on the Healthy Start Pack as well if you're not already. Sip on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, and then throw in some Z-Radical while you're at it. The Z-Radical is very coating and soothing for the digestive system. There's tons of other things that you could do as well, but that's a great start. Were you gonna say something, Rosella?
No, that sounds really good. I look forward to meeting you Friday.
Oh, that's awesome. We can talk. I'll give you some more ideas when I see you. Good deal. Thanks for calling, Rosella. God bless. Good luck with everything. Okay, got about a minute, Robert. Robert in Colorado. Got like about 30 seconds if you want to see if we can help you. What's going on? Or we can call back tomorrow if you like.
Hey, Ben, just a quick one about oil. I hear you saying oil is okay, and I hear Doc Wallach saying oil is not.
Yeah. Let me just say that real quick. We've talked about that before, but I still get questions about it in letters. Look, I love Doc Wallach. I've learned a lot from him. He's great. He has his own opinion, and that's fine. And his point is well taken. Oils are unstable. They're unstable to heat. They're unstable to oxygen. They're unstable to light. They produce free radicals, and you have to be extremely careful with oils. And that's what Doc is thinking, and other folks too. Other good nutritionists say the same thing. Stay away from oils. My opinion is there's so much good stuff in good oils, not crappy oils, but quality oils, flaxseed oil, it's nutritional oils, evening primrose oil, etc., that it's worth it. But you just got to make sure you don't heat your oil, you keep it in the refrigerator, it's not exposed to light or to oxygen, and you use it fresh. And if you do all of that, then you can get the nutritional value out of oil and you can minimize the risk. But Doc's point is well taken, And if anybody disagrees with me, then I can see why they do. Because oils are unstable and instability and nutrition are always mortal enemies. All right, thanks so much for your call, Robert. That's all the time we have for today. Tomorrow we'll continue talking about wound healing and nutrients that you could use to help accelerate the healing from wounds. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Have yourselves a wonderful, beautiful, awesome day. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.